Hi, this is Gary. You're watching a math tutorial on how to calculate the Pythagorean theorem. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through the concept behind how you calculate it, and then we're going to walk through two examples. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Now the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which sounds simple enough. Now, what we want to remember is C is the hypotenuse, and you're like, what exactly is the hypotenuse? Well, in more simplistic terms, the hypotenuse is referred to as the longest side, or the longest side of the triangle. And then A and B, circled there, they are going to equal the two shortest lengths, or the two shortest sides of the triangle. And if you know 2 out of 3 sides of the triangle, and you know which one's the hypotenuse, you should be able to go ahead and calculate that. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down, and we're going to walk through a couple examples here. Okay, in our first example, the triangle on the right has a side A is 7, side C is 8. We want to know what is the length of side B, and B is obviously the red thing with a question mark there. Now what we want to do is we want to use the Pythagorean theorem, which I have written up there, circled there, and we want to write it out ourselves. So we're going to write it out to the right, and then we're going to substitute what we know to figure out the parts we don't know, which in this case is B. So rewritten, the equation looks like this. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, well, we know that side A equals 7. I've circled A there. So we're going to sub in 7 for A. I've crossed out A there. Now we also know that side C is 8. C is the hypotenuse in this case, or the longest side of the triangle. So for C, we are going to plug in the number 8. Right there. Now what we want to do is we want to square both those numbers, because both those numbers are supposed to be squared, and then rewrite the equation. So after we do that, we get 7 squared is 49, and then 8 squared is 64. So we're going to have 49 plus b squared equals 64. Next, we want to try to simplify the equation we have. So we're going to subtract 49 from both sides, so we can get b squared on one side by itself. If you subtract 49 from 49, that gives us a total of 0. And then if we subtract 49 from 64, or 64 minus 49, that's going to equal 25. So b squared equals 25. And I'm going to shrink this equation down a little bit here. Now we want to figure out what exactly is b. Well, we got to simplify the equation a little bit more. Since b squared equals 25, we want to simplify it by taking the square root of both sides. So we take the square root of both sides. For b, it cancels out, and then the square root of 25 is 5, or 5 times 5 equals 25. And in this example, b equals 5. Okay, for this example, in the above triangle, if side A is 3, that's on the top left-hand corner there, side B is 4, and X is the hypotenuse, or the longest side, what is the length of side X? Well, what we want to do is we want to write down the Pythagorean theorem, and then plug in what we know, and then figure out what we don't know. So I'm going to circle the Pythagorean theorem there, and then we are going to write it down below on the bottom, and it's going to look like this. a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, well, we know that. Now we just got to plug the equation in. Okay, so a and b are the two shortest links. In this case, a is 3, and I'll circle a there. We're going to plug in 3 for a. So I've got 3 plugged in for a right there. Now 3 squared is 9, so I'm going to write a 9 there. So now I have 9 plus b squared equals c squared. Well, side b is 4. I'm going to circle that right there. So we take 4 and we plug it in for b. So we have 9 plus 4 squared equals c squared. Now 4 squared can be simplified. 4 times 4 is going to equal 16. So I'm going to change it to 16. And now we have 9 plus 16 equals c squared. Well, 9 plus 16 is 25. So I'm going to write in 25 there. So 25 equals c squared. Well, we want to know what c is, not c squared. So we're going to take a square root of both sides. If you take the square root of c squared, it's going to be c. If you take a square root of 25, it's going to be 5. So 5 equals c, and our answer is c equals 5. Now, for those of us that are a little bit technical here, the question was, what is the length of side x? And x is basically what we saw for c, so x equals 5, and that is our final answer. Thank you for watching today's tutorial.